guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the 5th progress report on the 56 Ford Victoria. I'm gonna show you guys what I did now after painting the body. Started and finished preparing interior and mechanical parts to get painted. Okay. The interior pan had some flash that I cleaned. Again, the molds on this car are quite old, but I'm going to paint the interior pan white. Then I'll mask it and paint the black. The carpeting will be black. Whoops. Here on the sides you'll have a black part or a black accent with a little white inside and a foil trim around. You have the same on the doors. The door parts, the inner doors, are already fully sanded and prepared to be painted. And this is important. The engine, I already glued both halves of the engine together, and I carefully sanded the glue lines so you won't see them here on the clutch cover and here on the transmission extension. But here under the transmission you still have a glue line that was not sanded like here and here. Why this glue line was not sanded? Because on a real transmission there is an actual casting line right here, and the glue line will represent the casting line. So left this part unsanded, and you replicate the factory casting line on the transmission itself. If the car has a manual like this 56. Well, the front seat on this car is a two-piece assembly. It has this front part here, and the rear part is a separate assembly that you have to glue together. Now, on the real car, you have absolutely no joint showing here. So you have to be careful to carefully sand where the glue line was. Here. To eliminate the glue line itself. I'm gonna pause a little because I'm hearing that my cat is having asthma, and I'm gonna give her a little medicine. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, like I was showing you guys, the glue line here was sanded smooth. So you'll have no glue line showing here on the seat. This is important, as it is here on the engine and here on the third member, or the differential. You can see here that there is no glue line showing. Let's wait for her to focus. Here. So you have to sand the glue lines smooth so they won't show once you painted the parts. Also prepared the dash, the paint, and all other small parts that are still not painted. So this was the actual progress I did on the sorry, had to go close the door. My cats were doing havoc here. They love to do this. And when you have 7 cats, it's inevitable. So the body, like you already know, is painted, but I'm gonna show you the paint I used on this body. That is this one. It's old, has more than 1 year, and it's still pretty much full, because this, I know it's written in Portuguese here, but it's synthetic enamel. It's Cadillac black. That is a generic kind of black. Why I use synthetic enamel? Well, you'll say, well, this paint is old-fashioned. Yes, it's old-fashioned. It's not used to paint a real car anymore, but it's still used to paint like tractors and fences, things like that. And synthetic enamel was the paint Ford used in the 50s, so it's more authentic. Plus, it is about 1,000 times more resistant than modeling paint, so you can apply more paint and you can sand it and you can buff it and it won't harm the paint. It's made to be on the outside, to be outside on the rain, on the weather, on the sun, and it won't peel, crack, or fade because it's automotive paint. And this baby here is automotive paint. And I paid about, I don't remember correctly, but I think it was about 10 to 15 reais. That's the Brazilian money on this thing. And the exchange now is, I think it's 4 or 3.5 reais for $1. So you divide 10 by 3 and you'll have about $3. I paid about $3 on this 1 liter of paint that probably will get out of the best before date long before I have used it all. But the important stuff about synthetic enamel paint is that you have to use the correct diluent or thinner or reductor for it. And in this case, I use this one. That's the 00410. That's specific for synthetic enamel. Well, what's the shore here? Why you have to use a specific for synthetic enamel reducer? Well, if you use regular lacquer thinner or modeling thinner for your synthetic enamel, you won't have this shine. Plus, it will take forever to get to dry to the touch. So you have about 1,000,000 chances of dirt getting into your brand new painted body. The paint here is quite thick, like you can hear, but once diluted, it gets almost like milk. Milk is the ideal consistency for your synthetic enamel. And once it's dry, you just sand it with about 3000 sanding paper, and you'll start polishing with this. At least it's what I do. It's the 3M polishing compound, 3000, perfectly 3000. In English it will be next generation. And this will bring the body from the sanded state to a full shine, but will leave still those little ghost markings and that a little frosting somewhere from the sanding. So what you'll have to do next, or at least what I do, I apply this thing, Meguiar's Tech Wax 2.0. This thing I bought about 6 years ago, just for modeling, and I still have, it's getting dry and everything, but still good and works like a charm on models. The paint will get fantastically shining with this thing. And you'll buy it once and it will last you years. You can put your money on that Novus stuff. I have used Novus, but Novus won't. Jump cut. Okay, I'm back. The problems here are I have a ginger cat that I call Lindsay, and she has asthma, and the weather here is changing a lot. It was a little cold, and today it got hot, and her asthma gets bad when that happens, and she started to get the symptoms. So I give her medicine, but sometimes it takes a while, and I have to put her on a room that has the AC on, so she'll get better. So, but that is a little on the psychological side also, because I have my other cat here with me, Andrew. That is a really big Siamese. I'm going to show you. And Lindsay is jealous because he is here with me. So if you have cats, You know what I'm talking about. Yes, cats are awesome. Now on the painting. I was talking about the polishing. I have used that Novus compound for polishing. It is great, but for the price and also for the quality of finish, I prefer this and this. That will outperform Novus every single time. So that's what I use. You may think it won't work for you, and that's something that I saw happening. I saw modelers trying to use this stuff and having bad results because they are so used with that super expensive things, especially made for modeling, that I think they, in their heads, they don't believe something cheaper will give you the same result. Just like this simple automotive synthetic enamel paint here will give you a black finish that, in my opinion, is as good as the black finish I get from the best modeling paint on the market, that for my opinion is Tamiya. The Tamiya TS14 black from the spray can gives a shine and a texture that is, if not the same I got here, is not superior. Not superior. So I'm getting Tamiya results at the cost of pennies. Now, what I use to airbrush these paints, you can see here on my little bottle that I have here marked tinta, that is paint in Portuguese, and solvente, that is diluent in Portuguese. So everything I'm using synthetic enamel, I put the paint until here, and then I complete with the reductor until here, and I'll have the paint ready for airbrushing. Airbrushing paint. I have this guy here. That's a Badger 350 airbrush. I use this airbrush about 8 or 9 times. It's fantastic. It's the very, very best airbrush I ever used, and maybe, just maybe, that's because it's single action. I don't like double action airbrushes, and that's something the vast majority of modelers love and use, the double action airbrushes. I have one also from Badger that I use very, very little, just for small, really small parts. And this airbrush here gives me superior results, but I don't use it always. Why? Because parts, well, she got out again. Jump back again. So this airbrush is great, but I don't use it all the times. Why? That's because parts for this airbrush are really hard to find. So what do I use? Most of the times, not all, but most, I also use a Badger 350. But this one is one of that really cheapo airbrushes made in China that are made with the Badger in mind. Well, I used this airbrush to paint this body, and probably the kit for this car costed more than the airbrush, and it will give you the exact same result as the real Badger, and I won't risk my real Badger getting damaged when I use this one. And parts for this one are very easy to get. How? Well, if it breaks, I throw it away and I get a new one for a very cheap price. So yeah, I'm kind of cheap, but I only am cheap when I know the result will work. A lot of people is not on the modeling hobby because they think they'll have to spend a fortune on modeling paints and on the hobby shop for supplies. And that's absolutely not true. You can get good paint, and you can get a good finish, and you can get a model that will look nice using cheap products. You just have to know what to use. Using real automotive paint is a very, very good way to save a lot of money. Real automotive paint may look expensive, but on the long run you'll get a lot more paint. You'll get a liter of paint, and you paint with that so many models that at the end it will be really cheap, and you will actually save a lot of money by using it. Well guys, on my next video I plan to have the interior parts fully painted, and stay tuned for the next one with the interior fully done. So until next time, bye bye.